Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and we've got a lot to talk about with new AirTags possibly, maybe a new Apple TV, new iOS updates, and much more. This is your weekly Apple News update for the week of November 18th, 2024. If you're using iOS 8 or earlier, and yes, 8, not 18, Apple's informed many users via email that if you're using an iCloud backup on iPhone or iPad and running iOS 8 or earlier, you'll need iOS 9 or later, or you'll no longer be able to back up after December 18th, 2024. They've actually posted a web page with this as well, so if we go to the web page, it says how to keep your devices and data backed up in iOS 8 or earlier. It says if you're using iOS 9 or later, no action is required. So I'll link this in the description. If you are running an older version, you could run it on an iPhone 5C like this, or maybe an older iPhone, and if you prefer to use it, you still can. Your backups will just not work properly on iCloud. So again, be sure to check out this article. Now, many of you have been having issues with notes stored in iCloud where they're disappearing. Apple actually released a new support document explaining or basically acknowledging it as an issue and giving steps on how to fix it. Again, I'll link this in the description, but basically they say open up the Settings app and tap your name, tap iCloud, then tap Notes. Make sure the sync device is on, then check the Notes app. If you still don't see your notes, restart your iPhone, iPad, or Apple Vision Pro. After restarting, check your settings again. So basically go to Settings, go to the top here, tap your name, within iCloud, go down to Notes, make sure it's enabled. Pretty simple and straightforward, but you could turn it off, turn it back on, and your notes should show up and still be saved there. Apple released a new ad this past week going over Apple Pay benefits called Plates. They released it 3 days ago, along with their Final Cut Pro 11 the day before update, and the Weekend Open Hearts official trailer that's on Vision Pro. So lots of recent ads, definitely worth checking out, especially Final Cut Pro 11 if you use that. Now, many are actually seeing refunds from AppleCare Plus. If you traded in an iPhone, whether it's something as old as the 5C I had earlier, or maybe just an iPhone 12 or something earlier when you upgraded, some people are seeing refunds for AppleCare Plus. Dylan on X said he wasn't sure where the refund even came from, but some have been receiving it. So let me know if you've actually received that in the comments below. In a podcast called The Circuit, there was actually an interview with two Apple executives who said once they made the first neural engine, some of their team actually read some information on transformer networks and advancements in AI. At this point, they actually changed the architecture of the neural engine so when it was ready, their M1 chips could fully support the new AI models, things such as Apple Intelligence. So it actually goes back quite a few years where they actually changed the overall architecture of the chipsets. So they wanted to make sure M1s were ready, and apparently iPhone 15 Pro, 15 Pro Max, and iPhone 16 series. So they go over that. If you want to listen to it, be sure to check it out. Again, I'll link it in the description as well. Now, if you've got one of the latest M4 Max and we're running virtual machines, you may run into a problem. So with the M4 Max, apparently you're unable to use macOS versions older than macOS Ventura 13.4 when using a virtual machine. This is according to a blog on the Eclectic Light Company, or an article that goes over some issues they were having running this. Now, this is something Apple could update, of course, or it may have something to do with the chipset itself. But if you found a workaround, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Apple has apparently stopped selling the Lightning to headphone jack adapter in the USA, along with other Lightning adapters such as Lightning to VGA and some others. So if maybe you have an iPhone 12 series, 13 series that still utilizes Lightning, and you're in the United States, those adapters are no longer available on Apple stores. Now, they may be available around the world, but apparently in the United States, you won't be able to pick them up as easily. They are still available on things such as Amazon or third parties, but the actual adapters made from Apple seem to be going away. But if you do have them, it looks like you'll have to hang on to them for a bit or care for them very carefully, as it looks like Apple's no longer making them. Now, if you're someone that regularly uses DoorDash, they've just announced a major update that brings new features and lets you integrate your reminders into DoorDash. Simply import from reminders into iOS or paste your grocery list into DoorDash, and it will have all the items you need in your cart in minutes. So they made this announcement where they've greatly upgraded this. Now, this isn't something I use personally, but let me know if you find this helpful or something that you would actually use regularly with your reminders and more with your grocery list. Apple also updated the Sports app today. So if you're using the Sports app, the one built in specifically from Apple in the United States, they've actually updated it with college teams. So if we search maybe, you've got all of your different college leagues now, and they're preparing for that. So if you want to use it with college football, it's now available with all of your different teams and all the latest information. Of course, there were performance and bug fixes as well. Now, many of you that saw my Thunderbolt 5 video where I actually talked about the OWC Envoy Ultra, this is something I purchased myself, but many were concerned that the cable was built in and you wouldn't be able to service it. Typically, you could take it apart and service it, but I've actually never had an issue with one. Many people also asked for a copy test of a large file, so I thought we'd do that quickly. So here are all of my YouTube videos before I've uploaded them to YouTube. These are the compressed versions, and you'll see this one in particular is 5 gigabytes. So let's go ahead and copy this one. So we'll drag it over here, right to the OWC Ultra. We'll hit start. It's done instantly. So 5 gigabytes was pretty instant. It's already there. If we go into here, you'll see it's there and I can play it. If we try let's try a few of these here, and then we'll just drag them over here, hit reset and start. You'll see it's 18 gigabytes and it's almost done here, almost 19 gigabytes. So that shows you file size, about 8 seconds or so, maybe 9 seconds. Again, let's do just a few more. So we'll grab these to this and start. And that's 72 gigabytes. It says less than a minute. Again, we're doing this in real time here. It's already copied about 15 gigabytes. Very, very fast. And again, it's incredibly fast how quickly you can copy data. So again, it's continuing to copy. 36 gigabytes, 40 gigabytes, and it's got about 30 left. So again, in real time, we'll continue to let this run. And we're still around 30 seconds, and it says it's got 10 seconds left. So almost done here, 60 gigabytes copied. 5 seconds left, and we're now at 70 gigabytes copied and done. 41 seconds to copy that many. So pretty impressive results. Of course, you can edit straight off the drive if you want. And again, I purchased this drive for my own personal use, not so they sent it to me or anything. This wasn't a sponsor. They just sent it to me fairly early, even though I purchased it. So I didn't ask them to do that. It just arrived early. As far as weekly deals, well, we're seeing some pretty great ones now that we're getting closer to Black Friday. $149 off the latest M4 iMac. Adobe's offering 50 to 70% off different Creative Cloud apps for Black Friday. And the M4 iPad Pro is up to $150 off at Best Buy as well. So I'll link all of those in the description if you want to check them out yourself. Now, when it comes to releases this week, well, Apple quickly released iOS 18.2 Public Beta 3, and then it reverted back to Beta 2. It looks like it was a bug or a mistake, as they never really released it. So that was a bit odd. They've been releasing updates on Monday, so probably we'll see it by Tuesday. That's what I would think is likely, where we'll have a release tomorrow or Wednesday at this point. Apple typically releases them on Monday, but they've seemingly changed that. But they did have a couple other releases. They released tvOS 18.2 Beta 3, which brought Snoopy wallpapers or screensavers, which is great, and also visionOS 2.2 Beta 3 released as well. Now, after we get Beta 4, we could see the RC as soon as next week, maybe on the 25th through the 27th, and then maybe a public release on the 2nd or the 9th. We don't really know 100%. Mark Gurman says the 2nd, Mac Rumors says the 9th, so we could see a couple more betas and then an RC, or just a public release pretty early in December. Also, watchOS 11.2 Beta 3 hopefully will be out tomorrow to fix some issues with the battery. I talked about this in my weekend follow-up video, but if you didn't see that and we go down to the battery, we'll go to battery here, under battery health, running the latest beta. I think this is a bug, but it jumped down as far as the battery health to 95%. Many people are seeing this on the Apple Watch Ultra 2. Why specifically, we don't know. Hopefully it bumps back up and it was just a miscalculation, but we're waiting for that update to see if it fixes that. So I'll let you know as soon as we have that. While we've all been waiting for a newly designed and upgraded Apple TVs, maybe similar to the Mac Mini or something along those lines, Apple is apparently considering making an actual TV again, according to Mark Gurman. We heard rumors of this for years after Steve Jobs had actually said he believed he solved TV, but then we never actually saw it materialize. While Mark Gurman gives no additional details, it is something apparently being considered again. Apple also is considering or upgrading the AirTags. Apparently AirTags 2 will be releasing sometime mid-next year in 2025, and according to Mark Gurman in his Power On newsletter, the next AirTag is said to have upgraded internals to bring better tracking capability and better range using the new ultra-wideband chipset possibly. So While it may not look too different, maybe we'll have some different color options. This is the one I carry in my backpack. We could have some upgrades with it. Maybe it'll have better internals, maybe even thinner, maybe better battery life. That doesn't seem to be too much of a concern, but they are helpful to have around, and better tracking capability is always welcome. When it comes to iPhone SE 4, well, we are waiting for a new redesign. It could look something like the iPhone 14, and it will finally make the switch from Lightning to USB-C. Apparently it will have updated cameras. It could have 1 or 2 cameras, but if it does have 2, I would expect them to be in a vertical orientation for spatial photos and videos. And also it's said to have the latest chipset with Apple Intelligence. The biggest change, though, over iPhone 16 and even the iPhone 16 Pro Max this year, it would be the first iPhone to use Apple's own modem for 5G and possibly some upgrades with Wi-Fi. We don't know all of the details yet, but we do know Apple's been working on its own 5G modems for years, and hopefully it'll be upgraded very, very soon. Now, the thing we keep hearing about, though, is Apple is working on a home hub. It could be an AI-powered home hub, and according to Mark Gurman, Apple has a long-term plan for the home hub, but it will start likely with a smaller version, maybe similar to 2 iPhones stacked, 6 inches by 6 inches. I've mentioned this before, but if it does well, then Apple would move on and focus on AI robots, maybe having a higher grade privacy level than other robots out there, new speakers, cameras, and even more that they could create with TV and many more things integrated. So if Apple does have success with maybe a home hub that allows us to control our home, they could make different accessories. So it looks like that is something they're working on. Also, something Apple is working on is a slimmer version of the next iPhone. We've heard about this a lot. However, some have called it iPhone Air, but now it seems Samsung is following the trend with a possibility of a Galaxy S25 Slim. If they do have it, it will typically beat Apple as far as a release, and then Apple will seem to have followed, even though they actually started working on it some time ago. So we could have a slim version of iPhone and even a Galaxy phone this year as well. And so lots of different news, and of course, many of us are just waiting for iOS 18.2 Beta 4 or Public Beta 3. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know what you're looking forward to as far as products and more this coming year. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.